this might be one of the most scaling DRX team compositions we've ever seen in the LCK. It is all around mid-late game. Heavy amounts of control, 1-3-1 possibilities, so much on their side. KT on the other side, though, they're sinning to win. Is exactly what's happening. As all of their lanes need to basically get ahead, they have to play for dragons, and they need to win through that method. You just look at it, and you look at every champion, you run down the list, and you ask yourself what the game states look like for 2 items. And so many things look so rough.
The LeBlanc player, SoHwan, in spring started to get very big praise for his Kennen play. So again, it's a lot of comfort, but doesn't always necessarily make the best team comp.
Well, see if bonO and friends can manage to secure a win for DRX here. As KT, they have set themselves up with the enormous amount of responsibility coming into this game. DRX, they're just going to play super safe in the early stage. No one getting creative at all. It's just so hard to actually imagine a way to create gank setups for the Lee Sin. Azir versus LeBlanc. Chovy does have complete control on playing super safe, even though LeBlanc Lee Sin is a pretty bread and butter 1-2 punch gank setup. Kennen versus Camille. Doran is on blue side. It's a lot harder to actually gank him. And Pyosik, the way that he should be playing this game is just permanently counter and match ganking Lee and only staying on his side of the map.
Yeah, I mean, we'll see if Pyosik can actually make that work here in this game. I feel like his game number 1 was pretty weak overall, comparatively to some of his other games that he has been doing well in recent times. And we didn't get any update, actually, on the First Blood, and if we broke any records or anything like that. And, yeah, SoHwan's just going to do his thing. Up on the top side goes Doran Blade first. Try to poke down. It's a level 1 engage, not going to amount to too much. But aiming with the range advantage, we'll be able to poke down Keria a bit.
And Pyosik, 70% win rate, 7-3, LCK total. 8.1 KDA. Deft getting a lot of damage out, but Ignite comes out by TusiN. And aiming, he has teleport available. TusiN now has to be even more careful. Deft is going to be able to heal up. Also has the hot cocoa.
Yeah.
From Bard, the most important part.
For sure. The most delicious part. And, yeah, I mean, the Ignite, it kind of felt like just saying to Deft, like, get away from us. We don't want to fight. We're going to threaten your death so that you have to back away. But it does feel like a little bit of a waste of a summoner spell as Deft with the TP, with the huge amount of sustain that Bard is going to offer to his laner. He's going to be totally fine. And we're doing the same thing here with the junglers once again, although Pyosik did skip the Krugs, whereas bonO did not. He's just going to get to work onto the Scuttle Crab now.
And meanwhile, in mid lane, Chovy still has his teleport available. Kuro taking teleport as well, but the lane going very, very even. This is the timing.
Okay, we're going to get the chains down, but again, it's Azir, so good luck with that.
And the wave is now coming into Chovy, so you should be feeling pretty good at this point. You can see Sejuani on the left-hand side, just looking for anything. Might actually make his way up to top lane.
Bit of an engage down the bottom side. You can see the immense amount of roots that this duo does have, the Aphelios and Nautilus. And they're able to get the exhaust out of Keria. Here comes that gank you were talking about. SoHwan is pretty far away. They're going to force the flash anyway. And meanwhile, the presence down on the bottom side, I think, is going to get a lot more for the side of KT. As bonO's even stealing some of the Krugs.
Yep.
Going to give a plate over to... Oh, actually with the TP, not quite.
Yeah, aiming. He doesn't want to stick around and try to get anything in greed too much and then get calls delayed. It's definitely frustrating for Deft. And so TusiN and aiming, they're going to get their resets off and all should be well for them. And meanwhile, up in top lane as well, SoHwan's doing just fine. Chovy finding a lot of success, though, in the CS department. And this time around, the lane's going super even and not a whole lot happening. It's very, very good for DRX. So we'll see if things can continue to happen that way. Chovy's going to be forced to TP back into mid. Kuro didn't even have to blow his teleport to get one of his recalls off, so we can take very heavy trades against Chovy, get him very low, attack his monopool, play a war of attrition, and then teleport immediately back in and just win the lane outright.
He's having a little bit of trouble with this laning, though. Kuro missed like 3 out of 4 CS in a row. Thankfully, I think 3 of them were range minions, but it's definitely something to look at in terms of what the player is thinking. They're going to try to bait the dash and then go in for the play, but Chovy is way far back. He's got flash himself, and that's going to be that.
Definitely hard for KT to come up with anything. We see a Lee Sin trying to trade here onto Pyosik. Doesn't want to just give up the Scuttle Crab for free. There's not really a whole lot that's happening. bonO does end up securing it for himself. Ocean Drake is the first one of the game for both of these teams. And KT, I mean, they're dead even right now. Keria, Magical Journey out of there. Meanwhile, down in bot lane, not a whole lot happening. As, okay, well,
yeah, I mean, there is going to be the flash on in, and with that Hextech ultimatum, do they have the damage? The stun comes in, and finally, Pyosik is going to lock down that first blood very early on in this one compared to game 1. bonO just going to trade for the Ocean Drake.
Yeah, and bonO, at this point, he's going to have to just constantly keep playing for not Ocean Dragons, but dragons in general.
Yeah.
Because Soul Point is probably going to be their main bailout. When Kennen starts to fall behind to Camille, there's really no recovering. And so you want to obviously delay that happening as much as humanly possible. All of the jungle camps are up for both sides right now, so we might have a little bit of downtime. But you can just see Doran's confidence level. Picks up a call to go with his Sheen and Longsword. Mile in mid lane, Chovy winning there as well. Doesn't really matter about the XP differential inside of the jungle. Sejuani is just infinitely more effective as a champion, even when she's perhaps behind in economy or XP.
Yeah. And, I mean, she was the one that got the effective gank off compared to the Lee Sin, who hasn't been able to do much except get that one objective. And so, already kind of doing her job for the scaling party, scaling team. This mid lane still looking really good for Chovy. Not much has changed. Kuro kind of just desperate to clear out some of the wave, but he's being pushed out here ever so slightly, bit by bit, already down to half health.
Well, Kuro not having the easiest of times. He does still have his teleport available, but letting Chovy get a reset off himself is not something that's super ideal. And bonO, I mean, he's trying to start up the Rift Herald, but these type of gold gains are not going to be the ones that are going to convert into anything super meaningful. Now, Pyosik, he comes over here. It looks like they really wanted to fight the Rift Herald, but they're going to arrive to it a little bit too late. Pyosik not going to go for any sort of a steal. Okay.
Well, Pyosik might just get burst down here. That is a really nice stun, actually, denying bonO from getting in, and now Chovy is going to be able to lock down that first kill. They do take down the Camille, as a huge two-shot barrage is going to come in, and now Kuro, kind of like a sitting duck here, he's going to have to flash and distort as the TP comes in pretty late out of aiming, but it is going to push back DRX. At the end of the day, it's a 1-for-1 in terms of kills, but Deft here just getting solo XP and gold. But the Rift Herald did go the way of KT.
Yeah, and I mean, that is a nice little pickup for them. We'll be able to convert it into play. It's most likely in mid lane or bot lane if they really want to just try to put all of their eggs into the Aphelios basket. And we can just see what's happening. Obviously, Sejuani, she has the way out. She doesn't need to commit, but Pyosik wants to go back in because Keria's here. Really good ultimate by Doran. Chovy trying to get in there, do as much damage as he can with the Sand Soldiers. Deft not quite with the True Shot Barrage. Definitely could have had an extra kill there. And then aiming with the most random teleport of Summer Split.
Yeah, of the season. Yeah, I don't know. He really got zero value out of that one. I think that DRX was just going to back away anyway. And he allowed Deft to just sit bottom lane by himself. Or his aiming could have just been picking up some of the pushing that was coming into that turret. So, at the end of the day, I mean, you look at the golds. Yes, Chovy did pick up a kill, but they're also gone up against a kill on LeBlanc. And the Rift Herald is going to help out here on the push as well. Never mind. Bard pretty good at stopping Rift Herald pushes.
And this is definitely going to be really rough. DRX, they are dead even in gold with KT. 45 seconds until that Mountain Drake comes up. Super imperative that they get it. Wow. The fadeaway.
Yeah.
By Lee Song.
Didn't end up mattering, though. He was like, I guess I'm too far away. Not going to take flight. Go on to Chovy there. And they didn't actually get too much. bonO had to flash for that play. Chovy retains both of his summoners. He loses his ult, but he's still full health, full mana. So it's not even like they were able to push him out of lane or anything. Get no value there. Lee Sin has to back off from there. It looks like he wants to go towards that Mountain Drake that did just spawn as Pyosik is up towards the top lane trying to punish SoHwan here.
Yeah, and I'm not totally certain on what kind of play they were trying to make up there, but not going to find one. Not the end of the world either. As you can see on the bottom side, KT, they're going to continue to just keep getting dragons.
Ooh, Kuro's playing with fire, man.
Yep.
He is getting in onto Chovy, losing some of those trades. You can see, though, True Shot Barrage had spotted that nobody was doing the dragon as TusiN. Not going to be able to get in there, and he is going to be the sacrifice. So it's Mountain Drake for the kill that goes the way of the Sejuani.
The thing that's so unfortunate if you're a KT fan is that it's Cloud Soul.
Yeah.
Coming up fourth, or well, coming up as the third dragon, so potential fourth dragon for KT. And that's just bad news bears because that is not the type of dragon that wins the game outright. And so KT with the loss on the 50-50 roll. They didn't get Infernal, which could have been so big for Kennen and LeBlanc to really try to penetrate DRX's team composition at the later stages.
Yeah. And it's really about the trade-off, right? I mean, obviously the Cloud Drake is going to offer some, you know, some nice tools, utility to the side of KT, but not nearly as good as the Infernal Soul. And they've set up a little bit of a play here. Look at TusiN trying to bait Deft into an awkward spot. And now he's going to bite the bait. He's running in, but doesn't look like... okay, they're going to stay, actually. Down bottom side. Wait until he returns to the lane and then make their move. There it is. The root comes in.
Yeah.
And, well, it finally landed after he flashed away. I guess they do at least get the flash out of that player. As now, SoHwan is in a lot of trouble. Chovy's here at the same time. So he's just going to be stunned up and taken down. And the kill given over to that Camille, who's going to start scaling up after she gets a couple of items.
And, well, Kennen falling further and further behind is super bad. Ezreal just going to go up to top lane. They're going to try to delay the bot tier 1 turret and get themselves first turret gold of the game. But now this means that the Camille is going to be late to respond to the next minion wave, whereas Kennen should not be that late. You can see the lightning rush. He's already almost there.
Yeah. You know what happened was the magical journey.
Kennen, yeah, magical journey too.
Which was really nice for Camille to try to catch up in that trade, as here was the 3-on-1.
Really easy. Slicing Maelstrom comes out. It tries to do something, but not quite. And then just a nice conversion into a turret plate capture.
Yeah. At the end of the day, it was just the first blood turret, but you can see that the slow roll coming in here from DRX, they are slowly getting ahead, over 2,000 gold ahead now. And yeah, just playing pretty comfortably with it. I mean, the scaling composition that gets ahead early is usually a team that's going to win. Even if KT does get the Cloud Soul, I don't think that's going to be enough utility to stop this massive machine that DRX do have building up right now. And on top of that, I mean, some of the kills did go the way of Sejuani, which is, you know, you would rather have them on a Camille or Ezreal, Azir, obviously. But she's going to be very tanky. A lot of those high damage members of KT are not just going to be able to chew through the Sejuani, who has, by the way, taken a very cute route up to the top side with the blasting plant. And bonO was looking for the plane, but he's not going to stick around too much longer.
Yeah, and SoHwan, I mean, he's continuing to just push on down here in bottom. Doran continuing to just try to hold him. You can see the Lee Sin trying to come down. Nice attempt by Pyosik, but Kuro able to avoid it. Things are definitely looking a lot rougher this time around. 2,500 gold lead in DRX's favor, and you can see Lee, I mean, he doesn't really have a whole lot that he can do here, and Aphelios, I mean, it's not easy for him to interact against the opponent team composition. So this is one of those games where we just saw one the game before where all of the opponents have to run into him. This game, they don't have to do that, but even when they do, they can do it with options. Sejuani is not going to commit unless she has you stunned. Camille, not going to commit unless she's going to be able to blow you up.
Yeah, it's very different from like a Galio that is kind of all in right in the front. If you miss your combo, well, then you're very out of position, and that is one of the downsides, of course, of the Galio. And now you can see that KT. Oh, that's going to be really awkward actually, as he doesn't have a lot of lifesteal here. Going to be able to chunk down aiming before the this fight does begin. You can see that Kuro and SoHwan, they have a nice amount of mobility. At the end of the day, it's just the one Cloud Drake, so I don't think that KT have to overcommit to this, and I don't think that DRX have to either, but DRX very confidently moving forward. There's the engage, and a huge Bard ultimate in the back, but TusiN is able to take up a lot of that, but it holds him in place to get aiming, and there you go. You mentioned they don't have to commit until they've got you already.
Yeah.
And that is exactly what Bard can do. But at the same time, this fight has been totally broken up. Chovy and Keria were off by themselves up on the left side and got dominated by bonO. I want to see the replay of that one because we were kind of zoomed in on the bottom side.
Yeah.
And Chovy making his play, but man, got pretty broken up. DRX get the Drake, but eventually a lot of them do die towards the end.
So this is definitely a very scary Drake because it's not worth losing your lives over potentially just the Cloud Dragon. Pyosik gets really low, but he ends up managing to secure the Dragon for his team. Kuro finds an insane distortion onto Azir, and Doran with some really good thinking, almost able to bring down Kuro. Mystic Shot ended up missing. passive of LeBlanc interrupting Doran there, but still a very big victory there for KT nonetheless at the Dragon fight.
It was really all about SoHwan making his massive play with the slicing maelstrom from within the Dragon Pit, which it happened so suddenly. I actually missed it during the fight. I was like, wait, we're watching LeBlanc, right? No, that's not actually who we're watching. Whoa. As maybe we should be this time around. Kuro is threatening Chovy. Here comes Pyosik. And no Sniperino on the red buff at the same time. So SoHwan is kind of buying KT a little bit of hope here in this game. Perhaps if he can get a couple more engages like that, there is a chance for KT to try to do something in this one.
And Doran just continuing to farm up. As Kennen's kind of stuck now. Valdes, you can see his items. He basically has Zhonya's because he already has Arm Guard and Stopwatch. So Fiendish Codex not really giving a whole lot. Has a Blasting Wand, but I don't know where he's going to end up going with this. And so that's a bit of an unfortunate situation. Lee Sin almost has the Black Cleaver. And you can see Ezreal at Iceborne and at his Mirror Mana already. Probably just going to go into Death's Dance as the next item. Very doubtful that we'll see Leandri's. I just talked about this recently on the T1.
Yeah.
The T1 show with
Week of Legends.
Yeah. It was a fun one. He fell asleep when I was talking about Trinity Force, honestly. Total sinner, that guy.
Yeah. He was born in it.
He was really
He understands.
Yeah.
All about the sin. And he's not too interested in hearing about Trinity Force all too much. We never get to see Trinity Force Lee Sin.
Yeah, we never see that. We have seen Trinity Force for Renekton, I believe, in LEC.
That's LEC. I mean, they you know, they're kind of like maybe a couple of seasons ahead of us in terms of
LEC
uniqueness and interesting item picks and drafts and stuff like that.
And DRX, they're just sort of waiting. Ravenous Hydra going to be the second pickup by Camille here inside of this game. Kennen down there in bottom looking to try to just shove the wave out. We're not going to do any sort of freezing shenanigans here. 1 minute until that cloud comes up. We'll see if KT can reach their item breakpoints. They have Runons on the Azir, but what I'm most interested in is that Black Cleaver and whatever LeBlanc is trying to build towards.
Morelos. Must be Morelos. You gotta stop the Bard healing. It's definitely something we've seen players build here in this region. SoHwan is kind of being pushed in. I don't see too much help for him, actually, as Kuro is trying his best to poke down. But that's that. Slowly building up, and the Ezreal does have a nice amount of... Well, it didn't actually take that portal. Ezreal is he's quite tanky, actually, at this point in time.
It's just a passively generated 3,000 gold lead for DRX. 10 seconds until that Cloud Dragon's up, and really they would have to blunder to lose this fight. I like what KT are thinking, though. Now, can DRX deduce that, hey, Aphelios is... Yeah, they can. Absolutely.
Yeah.
Positively.
Well, they're pinging it. Deft is really the only one that's moving over here. TusiN in a really awkward spot alone.
Oh?
This looks pretty okay, but they're a little bit too little too late. The smite is off, but it doesn't matter. As down will go the Baron, just snuck underneath the noses of DRX in Game 2.
And it's a very big Hail Mary for KT. They get the Baron. That's going to help them stabilize so much. They lose the Cloud Dragon, but it's not the end of the world. It's Cloud Dragon at the end of the day. So now 2,000 gold advantage, roughly, for DRX, but also the EXP that Baron gives is so big. Look at Kuro's level. He's 15. Jungler, 12 to 12. Doran's ahead by 1 level. Deft is even with aiming. and a Bard is even with TusiN in the support role. So this is definitely a bit of a feels bad man moment if you are a DRX fan.
Yeah, even more so, it's like, how are they they're not really able to exert their dominance against this team. Like, KT always seemed to have some kind of, you know, a trap card or some kind of unique play or just better drafting and better play, as we saw in their first series that they had in round 1. They always seem to have the number of DRX, and this is kind of another one of those things that you get frustrated over. If you are a DRX fan, like, how does this even happen? That's probably the first or second time it's happened all summer. A play that, you know, that much of a steal, as DRX are just trying to push in. It's pretty rare.
Yeah. And you can see the itemization path out of some of the KT members. It's more into the defensive area, as Morel and Omicron picked up on SoHwan. Is honestly a bit surprising, given the DRX.
Oh, they're going to lock him down, but here comes Keria and Pyosik over the wall. That's going to be a missed ultimate thrown out, though, by the Sejuani. Follow-up rotation from KT means that DRX will back away. I suppose they may have saved Chovy's life there, but at the end of the day, he doesn't have to burn Flash as well because of their presence. Curious to see how aiming is going to do as these fights come along, because, I mean, we've talked about the drafts and how it is going to be difficult for the Aphelios to just do his 200 years thing up against a comp like this. But he's been slowly and steadily farming up, and aiming does have just this knack for doing an insane amount of damage regardless of who he's playing against. And so I wonder if he can pull something out of the hat here in this game.
Well, Chovy almost at his third item spike, and yeah, like you're mentioning about aiming, can he pull something out of his hat? Because that's pretty much the only way that I can foresee KT really winning here.
Yeah.
Obviously, LeBlanc can try to soften up some of the DRX members with Distortion early on, given that they don't have a lot of very reliable CC for her. On the flip side, though, Kuro did go very supportive with Ludens into Banshee's Veil. Is not a super powerful itemization path when you're just trying to nuke your opponent. One that especially is so well equipped to handle LeBlanc attempts to reach the backline. So we have 1.5 minutes until Cloud Dragon. That'll be the third one for DRX. Now, KT, in theory, they could give it up for something meaningful, but really, what is meaningful? What is justifiable when you look at their items and you add 5-6 minutes to it? What breakpoints really come in that ever would give them an edge over DRX?
Yeah, I mean, the items, I think, are... It's going to be an ever-losing battle for KT, that's for sure. I think they just have to get really immaculate engages with the Kennen once again, and then DRX kind of have to get out of position as well to allow aiming to do some sick damage to have a chance to pull out the 2-0, but still it's looking pretty good for DRX. They're trying to set up vision here around this third Cloud Soul, as they're going to have a lot of ultimates, I suppose, with the stacking Cloud Drakes that they are getting in this game after losing the first couple of Drakes here.
Aiming, just trying to shove in the mid wave. It looks like KT is looking for a team fight at this Dragon. They're going to raise the mid-tier 1 turret. They're going for mid-tier 2.
Yeah.
This is all but going to just reduce.
Okay, TusiN is going to be stunned up for quite a while, and he's going to just walk straight into them and use that knock-up to get a huge amount of value. But Chovy in the back line trying to do that damage. He's going to be able to sweep up SoHwan here.
Yeah.
And finally his team is going to come in here and try to help him out here. Doran able to jump on in, but nobody actually going down. A ton of low health bars as Kuro, the shark, is looking to pounce. But can he do that? He's looking to get over the wall, and that might just be his death. This is going to be stunned for so long. And now KT say, well, after that, we can't exactly burst a dragon or anything like that. So TP coming in. You got Camille and they're all on vision. You know that aiming is going to be that first target as the root is going to come in. Can they try to turn this around? I've seen crazier things with Aphelios, but he doesn't quite have the right guns. And so he is going to be pressured down as the TP is in fact going to get a nice amount of value. SoHwan. Oh, you see Chovy, now he's lurking. He's looking for that play, and he's going to have his ultimate again at the end of this one. That's going to be the double kill, and now DRX pushing on forward.
Yeah, and I mean, there is still some death timers that at the very least they'll be able to raise the inhibitor, but it looks like they want to go for the end.
Look at Doran. Yeah, pushing on through. They're going to have the minions. Kuro here, he's looking to execute those minions, and in fact, they're going to walk away here. I thought they had a chance to potentially take that out, but I suppose they were very scared of Kuro.
Yeah, and teleport, I mean, it was available on aiming as well, so he would be able to come in deep and actually get a flank off on Aphelios, which is not something that I would ever think about trying to say. I've never seen someone so eager to run to a red buff before, but there is a first for everything.
Yeah, and the Scryer's trinket is actually the thing that's going to give them vision of the Baron after that. Is look at that knockup with the ultimate out of TusiN. That was really fancy.
Yeah.
Don't see that too often.
And you can see it live to Shot Barrage to check the Baron, just make sure that nothing fancy was going on. And just overall a really well-fought team fight by both of these two parties. Couple of blunders on each side. Obviously Kuro dying right there, not the most ideal.
And DRX have to be careful about getting into a pit because a lot of their advantage with their scaling comes from range and sustained damage. But if you just lock yourself in a pit up against a Kennen and an Aphelios, you're not going to have a good time. As now they're going to engage onto bonO, but he does have Merc Treads, thankfully. He's going to be able to get over there. They're both going to dodge that one, but you can't dodge this. As down will go. At least in. Nice follow-up here. We do have, well, SoHwan's just going to die immediately. Aiming in the back line. But he can't quite get in there. As you can see, Chovy is going to get a lot of value. Kuro, though, is able to do a bit, but he is eventually going to go down. And with Doran available alongside a Deft, DRX will be able to tie up the series 1-1.
Yep.
As they're going to take down the Nexus right now.
And so in a very strong punchback here in game number 2, DRX, they come in full scaling and manage to bust the game wide open.